Mark Rogers TV looking at all the 2014 schedules across major college football. And as we go through these schedules, it becomes pretty apparent that there's a glut of teams. Most of the teams in the major conferences are just trying to get to postseason play, just trying to get to 6 wins. Many of them schedule that way and make it very obvious. Hey, they can go 2-6 in the conference because they got 4 cupcakes to deal with non-conference, and that's the formula to get to 6-6 and get to postseason play. For Syracuse, not necessarily the case. They've got some tough non-conference games, and we're going to try to find a way for Syracuse to make a bowl game, but it's going to be tough for the Orange. Okay, they start out with Villanova, then they've got a bye week. Not great planning there. I don't think they needed the bye week. I know they didn't need the bye week. They probably didn't want the bye week, but they got the bye week on September 6th after the big game against Villanova to prepare for Central Michigan. And the game's at Central Michigan. I don't know what that really gets Syracuse traveling to Central Michigan. -1 home game there. Maybe it's a situation where, again, transitioning to the ACC, maybe they had some scheduling issues and had to find somebody to play, and Central Michigan needed the home game. So Syracuse in the first 3 weeks of the season plays 2 games that they have to win. Villanova at Central Michigan. Okay, but their other 2 non-conference games, pretty tough. Game at home against Maryland. Maryland off to the Big Ten. I think the Terps are a little bit better than Syracuse at this point, coming off a 6-win season in which they reached postseason play. And then Syracuse has a game against Notre Dame at MetLife Stadium. The Irish, much better than Syracuse. It would not be a monumental upset. Syracuse will give them a game, you would think, on September 27th. Again, it's a neutral site game against Notre Dame at MetLife Stadium. So, Syracuse, at worst, 2-2. The unthinkable would be they go to Central Michigan and lose. I don't think that's going to happen. They come out at 2-0. Then they've got Maryland at home, a very winnable game, kind of a toss-up game. I would give the Terps like a 60-40 edge there. Then they've got Notre Dame, again, in New Jersey. So, Syracuse needs to go 3-1 non-conference. Then they step into the ACC, and they get hit in the mouth against Louisville and Florida State. Both those games are at home, which seems like an advantage, but you would almost, if you're Syracuse, want to play the teams that you're competing against, the teams on your same level, play those games at home. And you know what? Instead of playing Florida State a little bit closer at home, go to Tallahassee and get blown out, get it out of the way. Play the tougher games on the road if you're Syracuse and you're roughly a 500 team. But they don't make the schedule, so they've got to play Louisville and Florida State at home to start out the month of October, and it appears as though that Louisville game's on a Friday night on ESPN or ESPN2. So national spotlight for the Cuse against Louisville October 3rd. Again, the Cardinals and the Seminoles to start out ACC play. Then they've got a game that they have to win at Wake Forest October 18th. Then they've got another very difficult game that they will probably not be able to salvage at Clemson October 25th. So that looks like 1-3 in the ACC to start things out. Then another game that they have to win coming against North Carolina State at home. The Wolfpack coming off an 0-8 ACC season. Okay, let's say they're 2-3 at that point. Then they finish up with Duke, a bye, and at Pitt. So they're going to be an underdog against Duke. Unless things drastically change between projections right now and the end of the season. Duke coming off 10 wins against Syracuse. But again, it's a winnable game. That entire other division that Syracuse does not play in, the Coastal Division, throw a blanket over those teams and Syracuse can compete with most of them. Duke is one of those teams. Then they've got the bye. Then they finish up November 22nd at Pitt, a rivalry game against the Panthers on the road. That another toss-up game, and if you'd give the slight edge because of home field and also the Panthers a bit better than Syracuse at this point. So Syracuse, I think, is looking at 2-6 in the ACC. God forbid they get upset by Wake Forest or North Carolina State. Then they're in trouble. But they should have 2 lock wins in the ACC. Maybe they steal a third against either probably going to have to be Duke or Pitt. They get to 3-5 in the ACC. They win 3 out of 4 non-conference. There you go. There's your schedule. There's your formula to get to a bowl game at 6-6. So I think that's the range. I think 7-5 tops And I think this team, if things break wrong and they go 2-2 non-conference, they go 2-6 ACC, they're a 4-8 football team. So expect 5 or 6 wins out of Syracuse. I'm not typically predicting as we go through these schedules, but that's how it shapes up for the Orange. All right, Syracuse fans, let's step up. Let's talk about this Syracuse 2014 schedule that's mighty difficult as the 'Cuse has to face that division with Louisville now added to Clemson and Florida State. Difficult road for the Syracuse Orange. All right, let's talk Syracuse football on Mark Rogers TV.